Hi there, I'm Graham Lewis, and in this problem we're going to look at an order of operations. You can see it's a bit of a juicy one, and so we're going to have some fun solving this, but we're just going to take it slow, go step by step. So let's just have a look there and see if there's anything that you may not understand how to do, we might kind of talk about before we start. Maybe it's the cube root of -8 on the bottom here. So let's just have a chat about that. So the cube root of -8. So if I just go to the side here, remember when you're doing the cube root of a number, you're thinking of a number that when times by itself 3 times equals that number. So a number times by itself has to equal -8. And of course the answer is -2. Because -2 times -2 times -2 is -8. So it's interesting that you can take cube roots of negative numbers, but you can't take square roots of negative numbers. It's impossible to do, for example, the square root of -16, because there's no real number that exists that when you times it by itself you can get -16. Okay, let's go back to our problem and have a look at it. And is there anything else in there that maybe we're not sure about? This often causes a lot of confusion. What does -2 squared mean? And what does -3 all squared mean? So let's have a chat about that before we move on. So -2 squared and -3 all squared, apart from the fact that you've got a 2 and a 3, they're very different though, because the top one, -2 squared, means you're actually squaring the number 2. So this squaring here only applies to the number 2, and 2 squared is 4. So this actually means -4, because it's the 2 that's been squared, and then you multiply it by -1. On the bottom one, it's completely different. Now we're not squaring 3, we're squaring -3. So this means -3 times -3, which is of course +9. So when I've got the minus in a bracket and I square it, it's always going to be a positive number. Whereas when I've got the minus outside squaring, it's always going to be a negative number. Okay, let's go back to our problem, and I think we're probably in good shape to start thinking of which order we want to do this in. So we're looking at brackets first, of course, but remember, if you watch my other video, I like to do what I can do. So I'm going to copy down the minus. I'm going to see it as I did with my earlier problem, just two fractions, two parts of the fraction, the numerator and the denominator. So I'm going to do the top problem divided by the bottom problem at the same time. So let's look at the top. What can we work out safely? Well, I think I can do that -2 squared now. I just showed that that was -4. And then I'm just going to copy down the -3. I think I can work out -3 all squared safely. -3 all squared we worked out was 9, and then I'll copy down the times 8, then divide, and then let's have a look inside this bracket. So if we look inside this bracket here, I've got 4 squared -2 cubed, all divided by 4. Well, my order of operations say I need to sort those powers out first, those indices, exponents. So 4 squared is 16, and 2 cubed is 8. Divided by 4, and I'm timesing the whole thing by √4. Well, √4 is just 2, so I can do that. So that's what I would safely choose to do first on the top line. You may show more steps, that's fine. So if you get the same answer to me at the end, that's great. So I remember all mathematicians have different styles of writing. Divide, let's do on the bottom. Let's see what I can do safely. Well, I'm going to leave the 20 because order of operations tells me I have to do the 2 times 3 first. So that's a 6. Plus, order of operations tell me 40 divided by 2 is a 20. And then I can minus the cube root of -8, which was -2. And I'll put that in a bracket to make it clearer. So the cube root of -8 was -2, and I copied down the minus sign, which was here. I just copied that down there. Okay. Hopefully that's okay. You can pause the video any time and have a look. You can replay. I'm going to move on. So on our next line, I'll copy down the negative. I haven't still sorted out this big bracket here. I've got a -4 times 3. I can work that out. That's a -12. Plus 9 times 8. I can work that out. That's 72. Divided by, I've still got to sort this bracket out. 16 minus 8 is 8. So I'm going to write an 8 over 4. And then close the bracket and times by 2. Some of you might have done 8 divided by 4 and written 2 down straight away. That's fine, of course, as long as you don't make a mistake. All divided by, and then I'm going to sort this bracket out in here, and I'm going to do it all at once. 20 add 20 is 40, add 6 is 46. Notice I chose to do that in a slightly different order. The two negatives next to each other, minus minus 2. Remember that minus minus 2 makes a positive 2. So I've got a positive 2 there. Okay, let's move on. So I've got to copy down that minus at the front still. And now I've got to order of operations. I need to do this 8 divided by 4. So I've got minus 12 plus the 72 divided by 8 divided by 4 is 2. Close my big bracket, times 2 on the bottom. Phew, finished, that's nice, 48. Let's keep going with the top. So the top one was a bit trickier than the bottom one. More steps. So order of operations says that I have to do the division first. So 72 divided by 2 is 36. Make sure you don't do that minus 12 add 72. You would get it wrong. So minus 12 plus 72 divided by 2 is 36 times by 2, and we know that's over 48. Let's move on. Don't forget to copy down the minus. Minus 12 add 36. Well, I always like to do that by doing 36 minus 12. And 36 minus 12 is 24. So I've got 24 on top, times by 2 over 48. It's getting nicer now, isn't it? By this, every line, you're just taking it nice and slow. Now, negative 24 times 2 on the top is minus 48 divided by positive 48, giving me a really beautiful answer of negative 1. So try it yourself. You can show different working. You can do the same as me, and try it yourself, because remember, you learn mathematics by doing it, not just by watching somebody else do it. So good luck. And if you like this video, I've made another couple of Bedmas problems, order of operations problems, so please watch one of those as well. Thank you very much.